watching Tech Talk, brought to you by Tech for Techs. We're a community that supports independent trade with the help of vendors and distributors. We're live Mondays at 8 p.m. London time, and we will be streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can listen to our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, TuneIn, Player FM, and others. And now, here's tonight's show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tech for Tech's Tech Talk. This is a live show where we try and help your IT business grow. I'm the host today, and this is my co-host, which is...
I'm Jenny, and I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah, and if you didn't get my name, my name's Phil. Right, okay, so we've got two people on the show tonight. We've got William and Ken. I'll get them to introduce themselves in a few seconds. But first of all, I can see there's a few people watching. So if you would like to state your name, company you're at, and I'll give you a shout out. And obviously let us know that you can actually hear us and see us, and let us know what the audio's like tonight, because we've had a bit of a change around. So first person to comment is Dan. So evening, Dan. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've got a pint of Guinness in your hand.
And for those of you that don't know, that's Dan the man at Target Components.
It might not be. Don't say it's Dan the man at Target Components. It just says
I
Dan,
know
so
it
I'm
is.
presuming. So, but there we go. He's always watching. So hopefully some of the other people will comment in a minute and then let us know. But otherwise, I think we should just go straight in there and go to William. So William, let us know who you are, William, for people who haven't seen the show in the past. Tell us what you do, where you're based, because you're in a slightly different area than most.
We are, yeah. So I'm William. I'm from Build IT in the Isle of Man. So for those that don't know where the Isle of Man is, we're in between Ireland and the UK. A little tiny island. It's only like 16 miles by like 35. So we have about 84,000 people on the island. We predominantly do consumer-based sales. So we do a lot of gaming PCs, like the one over my shoulder. We also do B2B sales, IT support, Wi-Fi solutions and things like that. But predominantly domestically focused customers.
Okay, sounds pretty good, that. And let's go over to Ken. So Ken, tell us about yourself and, well, tell us about your situation you're in at the moment and what you do.
Well, I'm Ken from Canny Clever and now Emporium Leisure as well. We've got two brands now. Apologies, there's a dog in the background just in case you didn't realise, and this one hasn't learned to behave yet. But he's about to learn. Never mind. So it's not me heavy breathing, it's the dog.
It's not that type of show, Ken.
No, definitely not. This is a family show. So we operate from, well, we have been operating from a retail property, but we have just recently closed our main store. Not because it wasn't profitable as such, it became unprofitable because of retail crime. So, and I refuse to operate a shop that's like a fortress. So it's a case of we want things on counters, we want people to enjoy them, all that kind of thing. But we are still operating from another one of our branches in Morpeth. But we were about to adapt our model anyway, going from retail into more leisure-led, so esports, alcohol, food, drink, that kind of thing, but selling IT as well. But we do have quite a healthy business-to-business operation in the background as well. So, you know, we're not all retail, but so we're busy adapting. We're mid-change at the minute. So you might start seeing things like Emporium Leisure popping up all over the place and adverts all over. I'll leak more about that further on over the next few months.
Well, that'd be interesting to get into and find out. So, do you want to read that one, Jen?
Ian says, sounds good, and Bond says hello. Now, if you don't know who Bond is, that is our soon-to-be 2-year-old Labrador, and he is in every way our baby, just as Prince and Duke there are to Mr. Ken.
Yeah.
And I think that Mr. Ken can be giving credit for me getting Bond, because I fell in love with Prince and I wanted a Prince, and I decided I'm going to get one. And shortly after he got Duke, we got Bond. So,
Yeah.
I
Right.
think there's only 2 months difference between them at the minute. So
yeah.
Yeah, there's not much between them. I know that. Right. Okay. So before we go any further, let's just go through news. Do you have any news, Jen? Or shall we go straight on to...
Why don't we go news-wise into what we can tell you about TechMax
Okay.
that's worthy of mentioning.
Fit the screen properly. There we go. Excuse us if things are a little bit different because they are. So here we go. Right, there we go. So we'll get on there. I'm just going to hide the chat for now so we can enlarge that. There we go. So if you want to head us off then, Jen.
All right. I'm so out of control here. I don't have a way to.
You want me to do it?
You just go ahead because you're in control of the screen. I can't deal with that.
Okay, guys. So if you've been to TechMax before, the next one is on the 3rd of July. That is obviously 2026, which is roughly 262 days away, as it says on the screen there. Same location, slightly different layout on the inside, but again, we're still working a few things out, and as we get bookings come in and confirmations, we'll add to it. You can see at the top different vendors which have signed up to a previous event. Next year's event, we won't get a lot of them obviously committing 100% or at least paying the bill until 2026, which is usually around, you'll see all the emails coming in from the start of the year. We've got 1 or 2 people who have and haven't sent paperwork and so forth yet. So we've just got to wait for that before we can announce it. The only one we can announce at the moment is TechPoint Distribution. They pretty much signed up on the day.
On the day, I had one of the gentlemen from TechPoint come over to me and said, "It's been the greatest one yet. Don't stop doing what you're doing. And where can I sign up?" I said, hold it. I haven't got the venue rental yet. Just wait a minute. But it's good when you have people like that so happy with the event that they want to sign up on that day before you even get the next one on the calendar. It makes Phil and myself feel like we did it. We did good for you. And that's what we want to do.
We've definitely been in conversations with some brands which we've not worked with before and ones that we've been trying to work with before as well. So there should be some interesting names there at the event next year. But again, until a lot of this stuff goes through, unfortunately, larger companies, they usually can't spend their marketing budget or get clearance until either the quarter or at least the year of the event. So a lot of it will come through, but we've got written down on paper, contracts signed up that they will be coming, but we just can't announce until obviously those payments come through for obvious reasons. But you can see the list of all the different ones what have come last year, which gives you a rough idea of the sort of people you're going to be getting coming this year as well.
If I were to bet on it, I'd say you'd get at least 75% of them back, if not more.
Yeah, usually it's about 90, I think 92% from the previous year returned, and then we obviously got new ones, and it's a similar sort of thing. So you get a good chunk of the same, but you also get a nice mix of different ones there as well, which is always good. We've already sold 2, again, waiting on payments to come through and details. 2 of the sponsor spots already, they've already gone. So if there are any vendors or distributors watching who are interested in anything like that, obviously they need to reach out to us ASAP.
Call me.
Yeah, we've also got a 2 or 3 visits what we've got to go in the next few weeks of different places, haven't we, regarding stuff like that.
I've been calling around. I've been on WhatsApp. I've been on Teams meetings. Let me know what you want to do, because if you don't and someone says, "All right, Jenny, I've got money and I'm ready to spend it," I'm going to show them how. And first come, first serve.
That's it. One of the things which is going to be different this year is towards the evening, for those people staying for the evening. obviously a few people have mentioned that a lot of the vendors and distributors sort of disappeared a little bit quickly towards the end of the day. We've everyone who was signing up, we can't force them to stay, we can't lock them in, but we're having conversations with them. But we're also having a big prize draw towards the end of the day to entice more people to stay in. Again, we're waiting we can't say exactly what that'll be as of yet, but hopefully something nice and big. That'll be about 9 o'clock at night.
We have
to
also
entice people to stay.
politely asked people when they sign up and sign the contract if they would please stay to a reasonable hour, because people do pay to network with them, and it's not nice. I know some people do have to leave for whatever reason, that families and so forth. I get that, but not everyone is going to excuse you going off down the pub on a pub crawl with your friends. They're not going to excuse that at all. And I was kind of miffed about that last year.
Yeah.
But I won't go any further on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to say we've implemented a few changes. Another change that we're doing as well is the entertainment was in the foyer area. We're actually moving it into the main room where we're having the meal and so forth, because a lot of people didn't even realize it was there, even though it's said. But again, it's easy to miss things like that. So we're moving it into the actual area where we're doing that, and we're upping it from just being like we're not having the retro again. We've got to commit on exactly what we were doing, but it's going to be a lot more entertainment than the retro last year. So we've got to commit on that and get confirmations from the entertainment company and so forth. But we're in talks with that. But it will be a little bit different.
We like to keep it fresh, something different, and different doesn't always mean better. But you don't know until you try. So
there we go. And in the chat, Dan's saying he'll be there until the end. I had a feeling you would, Dan. The problem is what we have, and we've had this 2 years in a row now, because we tally up how many people have drinks and stuff. I know it's probably because it's a can rather than on draft, but not many people are buying the Guinness.
Yeah, I was told that out of a case of Guinness, that only 12 were sold.
Yeah, exactly. And it was probably all to Dan as well.
I had one. Had one.
You had one, did you? So he had the other 11. But yeah, so we'll see about that. We'll see. Problem is they have to buy it in, and it's not a popular one. Unfortunately, there's no way of getting draft drinks in there.
And I understand why it's not. It's because when you pour a Guinness, you want it poured a special way.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with a can.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it. Guinness will never taste the same in the can than draft. No. But there we go. Right, okay. So let's get on with the show then. So again, guys, if you are watching, please comment. Let us know where you're watching from. We'll give your business a shout out. Also, I'll stick your names in the show notes as well, as in your business names, and link it to your website if you would like. And that way you get search engine optimization. So feel free, list your web address on there if you would like, obviously, that doing. The show guests who are on tonight will have that done. So William and Ken will do that for you guys anyway, as always. So it'll help your search engine optimization with obviously people going there and things pointing to your website without going too in depth. Right. Okay. So what's Dan saying?
Dan says he noticed this year. Jenny was supposed to be on the Guinness with me. I'll have to talk to you, Dan. I was absolutely, it was so hot. It was so hot. And I had been working, and I just absolutely, the first thing I did when I sat down at the table is I just popped open the nearest beer to me and chug-a-lugged it. I mean, from start to finish, nonstop, I chug-a-lugged that beer. I was just absolutely ready for it. Didn't matter what the brand was. I don't know. I didn't care. I had earned it.
That's it. One of the things regarding the heat, just to mention, mainly was for the awards at the around about 5 o'clock. Again, we're still in the planning, but it's pretty much fixed. We're going to have the awards bit in a separate area, which should be a little bit cooler. So we're just going over that again. We've got to go and visit and finalise the plans when we go. January, I think it is. We're booked to go see the venue.
Oh,
next,
that's going to be
so-
fun to see that room in January.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works. But there we go. So, and we've got Andy saying evening. Hi, Andy. Feel free to say where you're viewing from, and we'll give your business a shout out. If you want to include your web address, we'll also include it in the show notes. Right, let's get on with the show. So, anyone who's watching, got any questions for the people on the show? Do you want to know how busy they are, or do you want to know what tools they use? Do you want to know how many people they've sacked in the last year? I bet Ken's got a few on his list.
I'm not going to comment on that one.
Yeah, you're not going on that one. But yeah, so if you guys have got any questions or any advice you want to share, or you're looking for advice, feel free to ask. That's what we're here for. So let's start off with Will, as he's the next person on there. So Will, give us some random advice, just something random, as random as you wish.
Well, for those who are maybe having quieter periods, I was actually at a networking event the other week where a marketing guy actually approached me and said, how do you market your business? And I said, well, we use the usual social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, those type of platforms. And he said, do you ever use Eventbrite? I said, no, why would I? And he said, well, we found with companies that work in your sector where they actually go to events on Eventbrite in their area, they get more customer engagement. And actually, if they put their own services on Eventbrite where people can actually book slots to have a consultation with them or to inquire about their services, their customer intake rate is over 30% higher. So if you're having a quiet period, maybe look at alternative ways of marketing your business through Eventbrite. See if there's events in your areas you can attend that might engage with customers in your local area that you don't already have as a customer base, and advertise your services on Eventbrite by setting up meetings for those services. Seems to be a way to engage with new customers.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. It's a good idea. I've seen them around actually, so I've not really thought about using it that way. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Does anyone else use that? Ken, are you using it? Let me just unmute you, Ken, because we had to because of the dog. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to put them in the other room if I keep it up, but never mind. I haven't used Eventbrite. That's a new one on me. Sorry about this, people, but he wants attention. Again.
That's Duke, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. He's trying to take over, I think. Haven't used Eventbrite. That's a new one for us, but I've just written it down, so I will explore that one. I know last time we ran an event, we used, can't for the life of us remember it now, Simple Ticket or something. It was an online-based system.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only tip I would give with that is not to use it because we didn't have a great success rate with it. So Eventbrite, I've used Eventbrite in the past a couple of times in a previous company, and that worked fine. I think I'd stick with Eventbrite for things like that.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good, to be honest with you. It's something I'll have to look at more into as well.
It's more established.
It is. It's more of a directory into it as well of what's going on and so forth.
I think the only other thing I would probably say is avoid the totally free ones because they're free.
They're free for a reason.
Exactly. If you want to return, you're going to have to spend something.
Yeah.
Or spend a lot of time fixing the things that the other thing isn't fixing. So it's a case of you might as well pay a little bit of money, save yourself all the headache, and just deal with it.
Don't get me wrong, sometimes free things can be good, but usually there's a catch. The reason why it's free is to entice you to buy something, or potentially the free version's only intended for non-commercial use, and the last thing you want is someone suing you for using it for commercial use and stuff like that, which is very common with a lot of the free security programs out there.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Let's quickly go to chat. We've got Rich Creedy. I hope you're doing well, Rich. Hope the missus is doing well as well. And we've got Andy from Back to the Office as well. Hi, Andy. Unlucky you didn't win at PCR Awards. Must have been 2 weeks ago now, but hopefully you'll put your name down for the next Tech for Tech Awards, which will be accepting nominations from January. So that's
not that far off.
God, it's flying by, isn't it? And we've got Gadget Joe saying, "Evening all, hope we're all good."
It's all good in the hood, Gadget Joe.
Yeah, everything's good here. Thanks, Gadget Joe. And I hope, obviously, your mother's doing well as well, because I know she's been in hospital for a little while. So pass on our regards to her. And Richard Creedy saying he's doing okay. So that's pretty good. Right. Okay. So let's talk about stuff. We're going to have a show in 2 weeks' time, roughly, maybe 3 weeks. We're going to plan it after next week's show. And we're going to be talking about distributors. Okay. So this is going to be an interesting one for most of you. So on that show, we're going to say the goods and the bads, and there's probably going to be some uglies on there as well.
I was about to say.
There we go. So, Dan, this is why you need to have another Guinness, okay, before we go any further.
It's a shame that we can't have the theme to the movie on there.
Yeah, exactly. So, copyright and everything. But no, it's not going to be aimed at any specific, obviously, distributor, but there's going to be people who comment and mention names. There always is. Just remember, if you do mention any names, that you, make sure what you're saying is factual, because they'll be on the phone the next day after you. Okay.
And also, on the same token, if you have I'm not going to say the name of this distributor remark, and you feel resemblance to that remark, don't take offense. I mean, if you know it was you, don't call me the next day going, so-and-so said I was ugly. You know, I don't want to hear it. That's between you and them.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously we'll always help out whichever way we want, but obviously if people are complaining about you, there's usually a reason. But let's have a quick few minutes just talking about distributors, because we did a survey a few days ago on Facebook. I'll get the results back up in a second. But Will, what's your experience has been over the last let's just say the last couple of months with distributors? Are you finding they've been doing good, or have you been having a few issues? Again, you don't have to mention any names, just be general.
Yeah. I mean, over the last few months, I think it's no secret on the sort of Facebook page, I've been quite verbal about distributors. I like to hold them to account almost in some regards, because I think that the smaller independents particularly get overlooked, because they're always focusing on big target sellers like, say, Scan or Overclockers who are buying volume from them. So sometimes I like to shout up and speak for the little guy and say, look, you're not doing what you should be doing, and we need more assistance in certain areas. Certainly RMAs are still a bone of contention for us at the moment. The time that it takes to turn around on RMAs now can be 4 to 6 weeks for certain products. Sometimes it's a distributor just taking time to process the RMA with the actual brand. Sometimes it's the brand themselves, just in-house, their testing and their returns policy just takes forever. And I think that as an industry, particularly in the UK, needs revision, and it needs looking at, and we need to work with brands to understand why it takes certain brands 3 times longer to get a product back to a retailer or to get a replacement credit note sent out, because it shouldn't take 4 to 6 weeks.
You know, it's all too telling when it takes less time to return a toaster at one of the big box stores than it does for us to return through distribution people that we buy from all the time. That's just I have no words.
Yeah, it is pretty bad, to be honest with you.
Particularly, I think
it's
if they have a good relationship with that retailer. I mean, if you're
Exactly.
consistently buying products off them week in, week out, you're spending
Yeah.
money with them, or even
For
if you've got a
years
credit
at a
account with
time.
them,
Mhm.
then there shouldn't be any delays in trying to get that credit
No.
back. It's not like we couldn't sort it out on the next order if need be.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as if you're spending thousands and thousands. Some people are spending tens or even hundreds of thousands every year with these distributors, and then they have a falling out because the graphics card didn't get RMA'd properly or something daft like that. And it's little things. Well, okay, graphic cards can be big things these days, but it's something what's been going on even when we first started.
Yeah.
It's returning something is an absolute nightmare. If you've got to send it to the distributor, which I prefer to send it to a distributor and get a refund for it or an exchange rather than having to go through the loops and everything of contacting the distributor and then them telling you you've got to send it to the manufacturer and then the manufacturer is saying blah 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 blah, and then it goes to the same people who repair the residential versions, and so there's no priority on it, and then you probably might get it back a month later. Or you get those distributors, and we've had it many times with who do their own RMAs, and they take weeks and weeks and weeks. Your customer who you're returning this item for doesn't have weeks and weeks and weeks to wait. They want their new product now, or the product they've only had a few weeks, what's not working. They want a replacement, and you've got to pay for it out of your own pocket.
And try telling mom and dad who just bought that new gaming rig for their son that they've got to wait 3 weeks while Junior's over there having a tantrum in the corner. No, that doesn't fly. And I have been very sympathetic with people and said, look, I wish, that I could do something for you because it's not right. And I know I said, it sounds like I'm passing the blame on to somebody, but that's where it lies right here. And they don't want to know that. They don't want to know that. Your customer does not want to know that. They will say that's a you problem.
The customers will generally cite, Distance Selling Regulations or Sale of Goods Act, or know their consumer rights, and they have the right to get that replacement as soon as physically possible. We offer a no quibble warranty, so we exchange those components straight out as soon as we physically can. We send it back for RMA. But as I say, if we're waiting 3 or 4 weeks, there's a product that we can't sell to the next consumer that's not on our shelves because there's delays with brands or distributors.
That's it. It's crazy. I know a few times in the past with motherboards and graphics cards, RAM's not so bad because the price is usually a lot cheaper than in comparison. But the amount of times I've actually had to pay out of our own pocket to replace the goods for the customer, and even buy the part from somewhere completely different. I must admit, I've used Amazon before to get a replacement part in because I couldn't get it from the distributor or whatnot. And then the distributor or either they send it off to the vendors to be repaired, or they do it themselves. Whichever way they do it, you end up with that whatever item back after they've repaired it, potentially. And then you've got a second-hand item, what you're not going to be able to sell for the full price what you paid for it originally. And obviously the customer's already got the replacement item. So then you've got to make a loss on it to get rid of it, unless you're lucky and they actually send you a complete replacement part. But even then, you've still got to sell something what you might not actually need ever again, which we've been in a situation before with a specific motherboard which no one wants, but that customer specifically wanted that board in the first place. But
I warned them.
Yeah, but that's it. Just going over the survey we did actually on there. So we've got. Okay, so the number of people have said that distributors are roughly the same. This is a general topic, so not specifically for deliveries or anything like that, or RMAs, but around about 73%, 73% say they're working about the same. 11% say better.
15%.
1% say a lot better, and then 15% are saying they're getting a little worse. So on average, you could say 12% are saying they're better, 15% are saying they're getting worse. So that's a slight downward trend if you look. We will rerun this survey again next year, just see how things have changed. But on average, it's getting a little worse. What's your view, Ken? Have you had any issues with distributors recently?
The distributors I use regular. I mean, I've got my favourites. I think, as everybody's aware. They're about the same. I mean, one of them's had a change in management, so that'll give that game away. But to be honest, I haven't noticed much of a change there as yet, apart from they've changed the phone system recently, which has given us some headaches. But that's a technical issue, we'll say, rather than a distributor problem. We have tried a different distributor that we've not used before, fairly small one. And it's been the most horrific experience of my life.
Oh dear.
To the point where 6 weeks down the line, I am still waiting for the order, despite them sending invoices and then demanding payment and all the rest of it. And I've tried to ring them up. They use a call handling service for their phones. So you never get their staff, you get the call handler people. And you have to leave your name, your email, your company, details of the problem, and somebody will ring you straight back.
Yeah.
Still waiting. So
okay.
Yeah.
You'll have to let me know who that is after the show. Ken.
It's not one of the ones that's been at TechMax before, though. This is a one that came across my desk a while back, and the prices were good. I'll give them the due. The prices were great. But they do sell a lot more specialized stuff, so more point of sale type stuff, which is what we needed at that particular point. But they do IT kit as well. So I thought, oh, well, you know, I need this point of sale kit, big touch screens and that kind of stuff. So we'll give them a go. It was for a customer, it wasn't for us.
Yeah.
So I've obviously had to source it elsewhere, and we have done now. But it'll be an interesting conversation when the finance person actually brings us back at some point. So
I bet.
Yeah.
But never mind. But in general, I think the distributors we use regular, that's still doing okay. Haven't had any major complaints. The odd issue with DPD, but you know, we get that. It's not the distributor's fault, it's the courier. But you know, I mean, in Whitley Bay, the courier was smashing. In Morpeth, he's not so great. So
it's, you know, I hear people complaining about DPD, especially a lot in the group. And I guess we were just blessed when we had our shop. We didn't have very many instances with DPD. I guess they just took note of our hours, and you know, if there was anything that was going to come any earlier, we made an effort to you know, be there at the shop earlier. They didn't kick things around like footballs too badly. I mean, we did have some, you know, things that were hammered around a little bit and had to sort it out. But I guess I can count on one hand.
Not too many times. I think we've been lucky because generally we tend to get the same delivery driver or a combination of 2 or 3, which we see all the time. When we moved to the studio, though, we did get a few issues.
Yeah, we did.
Mainly because they couldn't find us. They couldn't read the sign at the entrance to the area where it said where we were. But they found after a few attempts. I was going
to put some braille up there, you know, for them to.
I think the only problem I've had major-wise with DPD, and I mean, it's not the driver's fault, it's one of those things. The Whitley Bay store, they decided to change that route to an electric van rather than the old diesel van that they were driving around. So this guy was proud as punch when he rocked up in his nice new electric truck, and it was all happy. But then after about a week, I started getting phone calls off him because he would just ring the shop. I'm at the end of the street. My van's ran out of battery. Can you come down with a trolley? Otherwise, it'll go back to the depot with a recovery truck. And I thought, oh, God. So we're down the street with the trolley to bring all the stuff back. Otherwise, but that's not the distributor's fault. That's a DPD issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turned out he had a faulty van. But this went on for about 6 weeks.
Wow.
And every time he ran out of battery, he wasn't allowed to get it pushed to a charging point. The AA would come, load it on the back, and take it back to the DPD depot with the parcels.
That's stupid.
And then they'd have to go out again tomorrow.
Yeah, he's got his diesel van back now, so he's happy.
Yeah, I can see where that could be cause a few issues, shall we say? Right, let's quickly go to what Gadget Joe's saying. So that one first.
Thank you, much appreciated. She's back home now in recovery. Oh, that's good to know. And now it says, I know it's off topic, but I'm keen to hear how you guys approach shortages and price hikes, etc., of things like the upcoming potential DDR4 and 5 SSD shortages as a frontline story, etc.
Okay. Good question there, Gadget Joe. So again, it's not really off topic because this show's pretty much that. It's off topic. So anything you want to talk about, it's here. So it's sort of like the first show back after TechMax, with the exception of the one what we're right after. So we're gearing up, obviously, to go for the next 9 months every Monday, with the exception of 1 or 2 like Christmas and stuff like that. But so, and we've also got Justin Hayes saying evening also. Justin, thanks for tuning in. So right, DDR4, DDR5 SSD shortages, how do you manage? Again, Will and Ken will probably give you their plans, but sometimes some good distributors will give you warnings.
Yep.
Sometimes that can be a gamble, though. So they may warn you, say that there's going to be a shortage, and then, well, how the things go, it ends up being the complete opposite, and the prices come down, and so on. So a lot of time it's down to that. It's not like the good old days, 20 plus years ago. You could pretty much guarantee the prices were going to go up at Christmas, and you could make a killing on it, buy plenty in the summer, sell them at Christmas, and then they come down in price after Christmas and so forth.
I will echo Phil in a way. If you've got a good account manager, you can always put a bug in their ear and say, listen, if you hear anything, I'll keep it on the down low and everything. If you let me know of any shortages, that you hear about and everything, because your account manager wants to make money. And like most people, they work on commission, and the more product they sell, the more money they make. So if you have a good relationship with your account manager, you can find out like that.
Ooh, sorry about that. Right, okay. Do you want to read what Dan's having to say before we go over to Ken and Will?
Of course. Dan said, speaking from a distribution perspective, Joe, it is all going insane. All costs increasing, allocations being amended. All right. That's good to know from Dan. And Richard Creedy says, for me, it's a case of costs, what it costs. My prices are adjusted to suit. And Gadget Joe says, Dan, I assumed it might have been causing some commotion. The biggest issue I find is the information very rarely makes it to the consumer level, and you're left having to justify a price increase, etc. I've been there before. It doesn't. It's not like it goes breaking news on the BBC. Memory prices are going to increase at your local IT. Film at 11. I mean, it just doesn't happen.
Well, one thing you have to remember as well, Gadget Joe, unless someone's got a lot of stock, is that's going to happen for everyone. So if someone's having to pay £100 for more for a stick of RAM than they did a few months ago, doesn't matter what store they're going to, generally it's going to filter down to everyone. So everyone's going to be charging roughly the same sort of prices, unless they were lucky to buy it cheap. But you generally find the ones who did buy it cheap see everyone else selling it expensive and will sell it for the same price.
Their prices too.
And if they are selling it cheap, someone's going to come along, buy it in bulk, and sell it for more expensive. Is usually the case. But let's go to Ken and go for Ken's view on this. So, Ken, how do you deal with it?
I think price hikes, when we quote, we tend to use a distributor's PC builder. So their pricing is pretty much current on there. And we'll only guarantee the price for 7 days to the customer. And if they haven't ordered in that 7 days, we revise the quote, we'll run it again, and that's what they pay. So I think it's a case of keep your customers' expectations as low as you can, as in timeline wise. It'll be a case of, I'm only going to hold that price for X number of days. The market's gone crazy, so I can only do it for that. And if you come after that, chances are it's probably gone up.
Yeah. That's the way I get it, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, we do explain to them it's not a high pressure sales tactic. That's just the way the market is at the minute.
That's the way it rolls. I mean, you can come in a day late with your quote and things will have changed.
And when it comes to shortages of RAM, particularly the DDR4 stuff, we're not quoting for much of that now. So we're not being hit by that shortage of SSDs. We've got plenty.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's always some out there. The price might change, or they might need to get, rather than a Team one, for instance, we might have to supply a Samsung one instead and adjust the price. But it is what it is. As Rich said, the price is what it is. We can't change it. We've all got to make money somehow. That's why we're in business.
Exactly. And Dan says, I think from my perspective, Jenny summed it up. Keep in contact with your account manager and they'll keep you in the loop with what's changing.
I think
that's it.
I think the only thing that really concerns me going forward, and Dan will be partially aware of this, because of our new brand and what we're doing, we've just put the timeline together for the next 12 months with our own equipment requirements for our own venues and premises and stuff. And that's actually quite a scary thing, because now it's down in black and white. I'm going to see one of our distributors in 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to throw those numbers down on the table in front of them. And I doubt whether their allocation of GPUs, for instance, will be able to match what we need. So I don't know how we're going to manage that. We're either going to have to spread the order across multiple distributors, which I'd rather not do. Then it's parcels.
But when it comes down to it, Ken, you do what you've got to.
Exactly. And I mean, I think the manufacturers need to look at the whole thing, help the industry smooth it out a little bit if they can. So if I've got a big requirement that's proven and all the rest of it documented, we pass that to the distributor. They can then go to the manufacturer and say, look, this guy needs this amount. This is what it's for. Send it. Or get it allocated or whatever. But I don't know if there's a mechanism for that yet. We'll soon find out.
Yeah, there is, and we've done it before where we can go to brands. We deal with the contacts that we make at TechMax, and we can go direct to the brands and say we need an allocation of 50 GPUs for our Christmas builds. They can get that allocated on the next shipment to the disty, and then they can work with you on that. So reach out to your account manager or the brands directly, and they'll be able to help you with that.
I think they're going to have a heart attack when I ask them for 1,500 GPUs all in one go. We might have to come up with a plan with them for that.
It's a lot of Bitcoin, Ken. That's a lot of Bitcoin.
Let's go over to
just before we go further, Ken, just let me know when you place that order and what time the van's leaving your distributor for you.
Might be a Holland back trip.
Yeah.
Let's go over to the chat and get caught up. Justin Hay is saying the clever guy that buys low will sell high, so price should be the same across the board. Gadget Joe says, I guess a quote can only realistically remain a realistic quote for a short time in this industry. Prices can be so fundamental to external factors, so suddenly and randomly it's impossible to predict. Yeah, like Ken said, 7 days. That's all I kept it for, and then we would have to reevaluate.
These days, I wouldn't even keep it that. I'd just say to them to the end of the day.
And Dan is saying 100%, Ken. The market is always up and down, but the industry things change overnight. as we all know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And Justin Hay is saying, Ken, if you're going all in at that level, go to a vendor direct.
Mhm.
Might be an option
That
for you.
is,
Yeah.
that's a good comment there.
Yeah, you might have to set up a special account with them to do that, but yeah, it might be an option. A good idea there, Justin. But yeah, it's one of those things with pricing. Is there's not much you can do about it. You just have to basically, if something's costing you more, you just have to put your prices up. It's as simple as
Yeah.
that. One thing I have been recommending for the last year is that warn your customers that prices are going to be unpredictable this time of year because of all the Windows 10 end of life, people buying new
Yep.
machines and systems anyway. So if you know that something's going off like this, so we're saying when Windows 11 comes to its end of life in another however many years that is, what is it, another 5 years or something, then you'll need to do the same then.
I will tell you how long we've been warning our customers about the Windows 10 end of life. We still had our store, and Windows 11 first came out. We started warning our customers then about end of life Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Get your new system. Get a quote. Blah blah blah. Plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to swap from Windows 10. I love it. I love it. And it was the same with Windows 7 when it went end of life too. Oh, I don't want Windows 10. I like Windows 7. I liked Windows 7, but I realized that I had to move forward. I just had to. But yeah, people, they don't want to do anything swiftly if they don't have to. They will procrastinate. And I hate to say it, my father was a procrastinator. He would wait till Christmas Eve to go out and look for gifts for the family. And then when the kids were crying that they didn't get what they wanted, it was it was our fault because we wanted something that was ridiculously out of reach. Uh, it's people though, people who
Trauma. There's some trauma there, I think. But yeah,
people are procrastinators though by nature. They
yeah.
really
I'm
are.
sorry you didn't get that doll when you were about 3 years old.
Doll, I wanted a truck.
Okay, I'm sorry you didn't get that truck then. So I don't know. Right, guys, we've got about 10 minutes. If anyone's got any questions or want us to go over or new other topics, obviously give us a shout out. Is there anything else you would like to talk about, Will, while we're waiting for chat to catch up?
No, just to sort of further hammer in the point that Ken's already made on the RAM, the SSD pricing. If you've got a contact at brands, we get notified from brands before they expect a price hike to hit market and disty. That's really advantageous for us as a smaller business to try and mitigate some of the price hikes that we see in the industry. So we know Christmas prices generally go up 10, 15%. So what we try and do where possible is we buy in particular mics and models that we know are popular sellers for us. We spec those into our pre-builds for our Christmas machines so that we know we've got the stock to supply and fulfill those orders. And then we work with the brands and the distributors where possible, if we've got credit on the account, to maximize buying those products that we know are likely to get increased in the run up to Christmas as much as our credit will allow on account. And then we've got the stock here on the shelves, the price goes up, we're able to effectively mitigate that. And that makes us more appetizing to our customers when they're looking at other big retailers who've maybe increased their prices in the run up to Christmas. And we're actually able to beat them or price match them in terms of the same price to performance product because we've bulk bought in advance. I know not everyone's in that scenario. And if you are a little bit light on stock, you can always try and look at Amazon. I know it's a bit of a double-edged sword, but sometimes they're a bit slower to react to market changes, and you can grab up some last-minute deals before the price hikes go through there, and that might save you the difference.
I think one of the other things we look at as well, I mean, obviously since we've closed the Whitley Bay store and we're dealing in Morpeth more. Morpeth is a different area. I would describe it as a little bit more affluent. We'll find people who come in, we're now dealing with quality rather than quantity. So it's a case of they will pay a little bit more anyway and they expect a higher price. So The one thing we've had to do is look at what pricing. The first person we had through the door there, we charged a standard rate for a standard repair, and all of a sudden we're like, "What's wrong with it?" It's like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with it. That's what we charge." And we found our competitors were charging a lot more. So we thought, "Oh, but we can't have one price in one shop and a different price in the other shop for the same service." So it's a case of, fortunately, we've closed one, we've got the other one open, so we've increased the prices. So rather than chasing every penny with the people who do want a penny pinch and will shop around and all the rest of it, we're literally sticking with the quality, and we find we're doing a lot better with that.
Yeah, I tend to find if you do put your prices up to a good level, shall we say, it tends to scare off those unwanted customers as well.
Yep.
Which is a big thing. If you're racing to the bottom with your prices, you're just going to get bottom feeders. It's as simple as that, and they're not going to. Okay, so let me just get rid of that message. Oh, there's always one trying to get to do stuff on here. So come on, chat, remove it. This is where it doesn't want to remove it now. Here we go. Let's delete and block.
We were just talking about.
Well, we've deleted it and it's still there. So let me just turn chat off for a few seconds. It's nearly the end of the show anyway. So, right. Okay. So it's just one of them things. Right. So let's finish the show off then. It's 5 to 9 anyway. So is there any last bits yourself, Will or Ken, you want to add to the show, or do you want to leave it there?
I think the only thing I'll add is, obviously, I think people know that we're not frightened to try new things as a company. We adapt, we do all sorts of things. But we're not frightened to make a decision to close a shop either, despite having spent fortunes on it. So I think it's a case of keep yourself under review, if you like. Look at your figures, constantly monitor them. And if things do start to slip and you don't think you can recover it, close. Just, cut your losses, adapt, do something different. I've seen a lot of people who commented, not in Tech Protects, but elsewhere, and I've said I must be mad for closing a shop and all the rest of it. But why would I keep pouring more money in? I mean, it was profitable up until it was.
But if you have thieving going on, that's going to kill you right there.
Exactly. I mean,
in your costings.
£4,500 a month in retail losses. Imagine how much product you've got to sell to actually cover that. It's not.
And that's not making a profit. That's just covering your losses.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a case of it's actually cheaper to keep the shop shut because I've got a long lease on it. Thankfully, somebody's taken the lease off us, and that's all in process at the moment. But
one of the advantages of being a smaller type of business, rather than the chain stores, you can adapt and change. You can probably adopt as well if you really want to, but you can adapt and change, and obviously change your business pretty quickly if needs be. You're going to say we've managed to do it a few times from going from call out service to having the retail store, then getting rid of the retail store as we got the Tech for Tech.
You can't talk tonight.
I can't, and I've not been drinking. I think I need to drink.
Sure?
Yeah, I've not got enough blood in my alcohol system, have I? So right, but yeah,
I think the advantage for us is we were about to adapt anyway. So we've developed a new model, and we were about to put that into play at that particular store. But given the fact that I would have had to stand at the door and defend the shop every day, I can't do that, and I can't put staff at risk. So.
And then you got to get a security guard in, and he's only going to catch half for it because a lot of these criminals know what they're doing.
And you can't depend on Dick because he's just going to play with them to death.
Oh, he's tuning his tube behind me seat here. I'm stuck here now. I can't move, but it is what it is.
That's it.
You wouldn't have it any other way. You know it.
Do you have anything else to add in, Will?
Just if those sort of businesses that haven't already, have a look at what your local councils or governments are doing in your area. So our government is going through a big AI initiative at the moment. So they're running workshops for businesses to upskill, to learn to adopt AI. And those networking events and those little council or government run events are a really good place to network. I know sometimes they're free, and we said, free is not always great, but particularly if they're aligned with some of your business products or services that you offer, there is the opportunity to just go along and promote yourself at these events. And we've worked closely with our local government to try and attend these events to actually gain new customers. So don't always just rely on traditional marketing avenues. Have a look and see what's on in your towns. And if there's nothing run, maybe put an event on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea there, definitely. Right. We're pretty much at the end of the show then. So one thing I'd like to add, and that's to go on with something William mentioned a few seconds ago, is regarding with prices, getting information from vendors and stuff like that. Now, this is a plug for our event. We do TechMax. It's on the 3rd of July coming up. And if you want to meet these vendors, the people who are actually in charge of the RAM, the SSDs, the graphics cards, the cases, or even the distributors, that's the best place to actually meet them and get their details, their business cards and stuff like that. And then, hey, make a friendship with them, and they'll give you a hint and say, hey, prices are going up. I get them all the time, these sort of messages, even though I don't resell the stuff anymore.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
Still get messages saying, hey, just to let you know, prices of RAM look like they're going to go 25% in the next blah, 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 or whatever. So, yeah, make friends. Networking, it sounds a bit boring, and
It
it's
does sound.
like,
It sounds like bored to tears. I always remember network groups that were around back in the 90s, and you would go there and you would sit with your pen and your paper, and you would sit there, and it was a yawn fest, and you'd be just so glad when it was all over with. But today's network grouping has changed a lot. I've got to say, it's more involved. It's not just someone standing there for hours on end to talk. They engage. They get the audience to engage more, and I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to say networking's not just sitting in a room and around a table and talking to loads of people you don't know anymore. It's a little bit more involved than that. As William says, obviously, host your own events and stuff. Do something on your street if you've got a business on a street. I know Ken's done similar things in the past like that, and it lets not only working with the local businesses, and it lets obviously other people come and see what you're able and capable of. And with the likes of social media this day and age, Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is, you can film it as well, and even more people can do it. Share it in your local Facebook groups for your community with people who can't make it, and brand everything while you're at it.
Yeah. One of the big things that works really well for us is introducing one business client to another business client where you think there might be a bit of joint working, so informal networking. And we've created our own sort of ecosystem, if you like, where people come to us and say, I need an electrician. Have you got an electrician on your books? And I said, yes, I have. Phone that guy. And, we do more matchmaking than anything at the minute. And it's,
A lot of times you can exchange service for service. The electrician may need an IT,
Exactly. So there's lots of different ways about it. Right, it's 9:01, so we're going to call it there. So I just would like to say thank you for everyone for tuning in and watching. Especially thanks for Ken and William for spending time on the actual show tonight, taking time out of their lives. If anyone does ever want to be on the show, just let us know. It's easy to do. It's like a Teams call. It's pretty simple, and on top of that, it boosts your confidence. It gets the vendors and distributors to know who you are, and you never know, you might make for some friends and have some fun while you're at it as well. It's totally free to do. We don't charge you. Well, we shouldn't we? Get a few quid off them.
No comment.
Yeah, no problem. So, right, guys, thanks again. We'll see you next time. And, have a good rest of your week.
Yeah.
And we will be back on Monday. I nearly forgot. I said I was going to forget this. We will be back on Monday next week with a show which is called First and Last Line of Defense. With, I'm not sure 100% how you pronounce this, but it's Cyber Cover.
I think it's
cover. But or something like that. I'll put it in the chat anyway, so you can go check them out. They will be on the show, all being well, on Monday next week. Okay, so keep an eye out for the reminders and so forth. Right, guys, we'll see you all next week, and have a good one. Thanks again. See you later.